I think it is kind of wide open in a lot of
I do
ways,
think
in
so.
that you
Mm-hmm.
have. There's other teams that
Mm-hmm.
LSU could come out and win.
Mm-hmm.
A&M, I think A&M may be really good this year. And of course, we
Oh, yeah.
talked about this off the air before we came on about Missouri's schedule is so easy that they may be in the championship game.
Yeah, but it's always interesting watching the preseason predictions. Now,
Hmm.
the SEC writers have their poll, and USA Today newspaper has theirs. And Texas and Georgia are 1 and 2 in both of them. But what was interesting, Florida, we were number five in USA Today paper, and yet we're number 9 in the sports writers here. So they were a huge difference. And then South Carolina had a big difference. They were number 5 in one and number 11 in the other. Now, what that means, I don't know. I think between 11 and 5, a lot can happen.
Another Duly Noted podcast comes to you from the Coach's Podcast Room at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill in Celebration Point. Okay, welcome in to another Duly Noted podcast presented by Titan MRI and Imaging, coming to you from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. Got a great show today. Coach Spurrier will be in here. We'll talk to him about SEC Media Days and all the things that went on there and some other stuff, golf, of course. And then Jeff Cardozo is going to join us for Yes, No, Where. Maybe Robbie is at the beach again today. So that's fine. He's taking his summer vacation and enjoying it, and I appreciate it. On Thursday, Mike Bratton, SEC Mike, you see him on Twitter or wherever you want to see him, but I can tell you he knows his SEC, and it'll be great to have him on here. By the way, just a programming note for radio, the tailgate with Jeff and I will be out here at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill on Thursday for the Todd Golden unveiling of the portrait that will, for being a national champ, that'll be upstairs, James Bates. We'll talk about that as well. All right, let us move along to our Royal Blue starting five, brought to you by my good friend Randy Royal at Royal Blue. In fact, I had a great conversation with him the other day. We're gonna do some other things with his stuff and maybe put up a couple of, hey, here's a boat you can get, So and do some more with him. We're kind of shifting some things, but for the most part, our guys have all stayed with us, so it's been great, and appreciate them staying with us through the summer, and then we get to the fall, and everybody wants to be here. We still have openings. There are 2 openings for sponsor possibilities. Patrick Dooley 54 at gmail.com. If you want to get involved, believe me, I think you do. We're doing really well on this podcast in terms of the numbers, and we can send them to you if you want to see them. All right. Let us move along to our Royal Blue starting five. And number 1 is that, and again, I know this happened on Friday, but I still am going to bring it up. But the SEC came out with its media poll, and Florida was picked 6th, and Texas was picked to win, which it was actually tight between Texas and Georgia. And I think the only reason it was is because most of the writers were from the Atlanta area because it was in Atlanta, or they were. There was more Georgia writers there than anybody. I will say that. And, for Florida to be 5 or 6, it doesn't mean anything, but that's all it is an indication of what people think. Doesn't mean any of them are right. I think it's 10 times since they started doing this poll in 92 that they've gotten it right. And when I say they is them now. When it was me, I was not getting it right either a lot of times, believe me. But look, it is what it is. And you can take it seriously, or you can just take it and say, hey, it's something to talk about. Let's give them something to talk about. All right, no more singing, I promise. But I do think that, again, you had 17% of the vote is all that. They only voted for 17. Only 17% of the people voted that were there, that were credentialed media. And I'm going to get to that in a minute because my man John Tulty had a good point about this, and I don't. It's not going to happen, but it is still a good point. But anyway, the great thing is SEC Media Days is over. But at the same time, I was enjoying watching some of it. That's a great thing, especially with 16 teams. You can be, selective on when you want to watch it. You can watch it, in the morning. You can watch it in the afternoon. You can watch it the replays at night. I actually did watch a couple of old football games too from last year. I've got the fever, and you know what happens when you get the fever? More cowbell. All right, let's move along to number 2, and that is that. And this goes on our Royal Blue starting 5. Goes back to what I like to call lazy voting, and I think there is a lot of lazy voting in the world. And I talk about it in terms of, if you're voting for the Heisman, if you're voting for the Biletnikoff, if you're voting for all SEC teams, there's a lot of lazy voting. I think there should be a small group of people allowed to vote, but again, that's not going to happen. They open it up to everybody, 1,200 people. You got a credential, you got to vote. Not everybody voted, obviously, but. When you see that Missouri is picked by the media boys at number 12, and I go, well, you guys are being lazy because you clearly haven't looked at their schedule. They have no games, none, 0, on the road until October 18th. Their road schedule is not very hard in the SEC. They have one tough game at home against Alabama. They don't play Texas. They don't play Georgia. They don't play LSU. I don't know how. Again, this was last year's schedule too. At the time, we thought, well, at least you had to play Alabama. They may be the best team, but that wasn't even true. I don't know how they were able to do that, but you look at that, and you look at the preseason all SEC teams, and for example, this is a good point. Georgia had all 3 special teams guys, right? Well, there were more writers from Georgia. They probably are aware of these guys and how good they can be. And they may end up all 3 being there. I would have voted for Trace Mack myself. I would have voted for Rocco Underwood first team. But the bottom line is there is a lot of lazy voting, and it's just something for us to talk about this time of year. This is why they do SEC Media Days and all the media days at this time of the year and not later, not closer to the season. Because everybody likes to say it's the start of the season, unofficial start of the season. Well, no, it's not. Florida doesn't practice until July 30th. That's a long time. That's 9 days from now, let alone from when the SEC Media Days ended. So there's still a ways to go. But the reason to do it is it's kind of following, and again, it's not like they started doing it just recently, but they believe in that NFL model, which is keep something out all the time. See, keep your name in the news. Don't get your name out of my mouth. You got to keep your name in the news, and as a brand, the SEC, and they've done a really good job of that. In fact, holding back on releasing the polls. And which is a big story. People are going to make it a big story. It doesn't mean that it is a big story, but they're going to make it a big story, and that's fine. I have no problem with that. But they held it back just recently. They started doing it till Friday. I think maybe it was our last year that we were there, Robbie and I, that they held it back till Friday. And I'm okay with that. It gives you another thing to talk about on Friday. And again, especially when you've got 4 teams a day for 4 days. I will say this. I saw this story by John Talty, who works for CBS Sports. Really good writer, really good. You see him on Feinbaum all the time. Good dude. We'll probably get him on the show soon. But he talked to a lot of people, and it was all the same response. And it felt that way watching it on TV. And that was it. There was no juice there. Yeah, there was a little Arch Manning juice and a little DJ Lagway juice, and that was pretty much it. Other than that, there wasn't much juice. Yeah, you had Texas A&M fight song playing when Texas came out. SEC Media Days has kind of devolved into nobody saying anything about anybody. Used to be a lot of fun. There were big stories. Tebow getting asked if he was a virgin or not. Manziel, I asked the question of Manziel, do you feel like you've let down the Heisman people by your actions, by all the times you've been in trouble? And he said, no, I'm not going to change. Now he's out of the league. Anyway, there didn't seem to be a lot of juice watching it, and that's fine. I just don't think there's going to be much. And the suggestions that John made are suggestions I've made before, going all the way back to Mike Sly, maybe to Roy Kramer, but they're not going to happen. I mean, like one of them is don't let as many media in. Yes, I agree with that 100%. Just because you have a website doesn't mean you should get to be in, at SEC Media Days with your Go Hogs hat on, I mean, but believe me, that's never going to change. The more they can get in there, the more they'll get in there. All right, let's move along to number 3 on our Royal Blue starting 5, which was not good news that broke over the weekend that Devon Manuel was arrested on charges of it was a DUI and concealed weapon. That's not good. And again, you're innocent till proven guilty. I'm not going to bash the kid yet until we find out exactly what happened. But this is the kind of thing we didn't used to get. And I'm just saying that was one of the real attributes of Billy Napier's era, I guess you could say, or his time here, is that guys stayed out of trouble. And then Dijon Johnson got in trouble. And again, I don't know how serious that's going to be and how much they're going to play. But it'll be curious to watch in both these cases, whether there are suspensions. And now they could do the easy thing, which, as you know, is to suspend you for the Long Island game. Sal Aaron Hernandez got suspended for well, he didn't get arrested. He should have been arrested, but he wasn't arrested. But for the Hawaii game, tested positive is what happened there. But for the second time at least, I think. Anyway, look, Manuel's a backup, came from Arkansas in the portal. Sometimes when you get guys in the portal that you haven't spent a lot of time with, you don't know exactly what you're getting character-wise. You think you do, but you may not. They may put on a good show. All these are just guesses of mine. Certainly not good to have another issue here where you have another guy arrested. But again, backup lineman, he probably would play, and if he comes back and they bring him back, he probably will play at some point. Played 3 games last year. I'm not overly concerned about it. I just hope that we're not starting a pattern here. All right, let's move to number 4, which was the British Open, which I watched and watched. Got up Thursday morning very early. I told you about that, to watch it. And then, I watched every day and watched even right up to the last putt. Scotty Scheffler is just ridiculous. It's so amazing how good he is. This stat from NBC was amazing. That it was 1,197 days between Tiger's first major and his fourth, and it's been 1,197 days from Scotty's first to his fourth. So that tells you I don't think it means he's on pace to catch Tiger. But right now, the way he's playing and the way he seems to have figured some things out mentally in terms of, him trying to enjoy the wins more and, not get caught up in it, but still understand you have other obligations. It's more about family and faith and all that. I mean, that press conference on Tuesday was the most revealing press conference you'll ever see. It was pretty good. And amazing thing to me was watching him and there were a couple of fist pumps, not many, but man, he would hit a shot and he would just walk all the way up the course with his head down. I thought it was me walking around because I'm looking for holes I don't step in, but he's just walking down. He's just totally focused. He's the most focused guy I've ever seen. He hit that shot on 18 and it landed pin high, and I literally yelled at my TV, "Of course it's pin high." He hits everything pin high. He's amazing to watch. It's really cool to watch. There were a lot of weird things that happened in this tournament because Portrush is different, and I don't even know if I want to play there. I would like to go play a course in Ireland, but I'm not sure that's the one. That seems like I would not last long if I took a whole dozen balls out there, that the balls would not last. But this was we're going to show you this video. This was something different that I feel like maybe I've seen it before, but I don't remember seeing it. But this was Rory McIlroy playing, I think this was on Saturday. hits a shot, looks down, and there's his ball. No, that's not his ball. That was a ball that was buried underneath the ground, and he didn't realize, and you see it here, it pops up. I guess it's down there buried below his ball. I don't know that I've ever seen it. I feel like I might have seen it, but that was weird. And Rory Rory it was a tough week for Rory because he had to deal with a lot of, obviously being back home and everything. But I think he played well. The thing is, I don't know that he's as good as Scheffler, to be honest with you right now. I don't know that he's as consistent. I just don't think he is. But that could be a great rivalry coming up. And, of course, all we really have – I know the FedEx Cup is coming up, but the FedEx Cup to me is just watching a lot of golf. And it's fun. It was way fun when Billy Horschel was playing and winning it. But Ryder Cup is the next thing. And then, unfortunately, the Ryder Cup happens during football season, which means – it may not even make the third TV, but I will watch some of it. There's no doubt about it. All right. So let's move along to number 5 on our Royal Blue starting 5, and that is the WNBA All-Star Game was Saturday night. No, of course I didn't watch it. Look, I have no problem with women's basketball. I have no problem with I've been to Florida women's basketball games over and over. I've covered women's basketball games. I just don't – I'm not a big WNBA fan, mainly because if I'm going to watch basketball, I'd rather watch the NBA. I'm not a big fan of the 3-on-3 stuff they're doing. I'm not a big fan of this league they're playing. I just like to watch games that matter. But anyway, they have their All-Star game, and, of course, their best player is not playing in it. But they did come up with T-shirts that they wore on the court that said, "Pay us what you owe us." Now, I don't know that you owe anybody anything, but look, this is between them and their CBA, or not CBA, their collective bargaining, CBA, and what they're trying to do with their union. We'll see what happens. I to be honest with you, there's not a lot of care in my world. But I started thinking about it, and I go, maybe there should be. Because let's say that it becomes lucrative to be a WNBA player, which is what they want to do. Yeah, there are the T-shirts. Apparently, nobody from Team Caitlin Clark was at the meeting where they decided to do this, though. That's what some of the girls said. Those girls do not like each other, man. They really get mad at each other. But anyway... But just to say it does become, hey, you never have to worry right now about a player getting really good. You may have to worry about him getting in the portal, but you don't have to worry about him going to the WNBA early. But maybe that could be a new issue that women's basketball coaches are going to have to deal with, where, hey, there's a lot of money up there. You can't pay me the NIL money I want. I'm gone. It'll be interesting to see how that all works out. But I'm always looking for an angle on every story, but that's the angle I'm taking on this one. All right. That's going to do it for our Royal Blues starting 5. We'll take a break. When we come back, the HBC will join us. Steve Spurrier will talk to him about Media Day, the prediction, the poll, and also about Scotty Scheffler and his ability to hit irons wherever he wants. This is another Dooley Noted podcast presented by Titan MRI and Imaging, coming to you from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. At Royal Blue, we use such tools as AI, bulk email marketing, trade shows, Google search advertising, and multiple websites. We take a much more proactive approach to getting your boat sold in a timely manner. With our extensive client list and broker-dealer network, we can track down vessels that might be perfect for you and your family, that may not even be listed for sale yet, giving you the right of first refusal. We have spent the last 15 years in boat sales, observing and listening to our clients. In response to our findings, we have constructed a custom yacht brokerage that strives to fit their needs and not ours. Call us today to schedule a consultation to see what Royal Blue can do to solve all of your boating needs. Call Randy at 850-974-1294.
Titan MRI, North Central Florida's premier independent diagnostic testing MRI facility. At Titan MRI, we're focused on you, the patient, having a great customer experience. Our MRI equipment is modern and 75% quieter than any unit in its class. And our MRI unit has one of the largest openings of any of the newer high-strength MRI units, which allows comfortable scanning for potential claustrophobic and larger patients. At Titan MRI, we look forward to serving you.
Great food, great atmosphere, a diverse menu, everything made from scratch, plenty of space, and locally owned. These are all the characteristics of a great restaurant, and you can find each and every one of them right here in Gainesville at Ballyhoo Grill. Ballyhoo Grill prepares all of their food fresh every day, from their salad dressing to their award-winning soups. Bring your family and enjoy dinner under the Tim Trebo Tiki Hut while listening to live music. Or if you're running low on time to eat out, they also deliver through Uber Eats, Fight Squad, and Postmates. A Gainesville staple that's been open for over 30 years. Check out Ballyhoo Grill on Facebook or at ballyhoogrill.com.
Coach, you know what always impressed me? How you beat Florida State to win the 1996 national championship.
And I was really impressed with your 06, 08, and 09 Gator teams.
And the way you coached Danny to the Heisman Trophy.
A lot like what you did with Tim Tebow.
You know, you won more SEC championships than you lost home games at the Swamp.
And you had plenty of super games in front of our Gator Nation.
Yeah, there really is something special about the Swamp.
I guess that's why we say about the Swamp, only the Gators get out alive.
To the Swamp and the Gators, with the best beverage served at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. 100% agave, Los Landeros tequila. Aged in bourbon barrels for a smoother taste.
I think you mean Head Beer Coach 1966 lager, a crisp, light, bodied lager for easy drinking.
Nope. Los Landeros tequila, smooth enough to drink neat and bold enough to elevate a cocktail.
1966 lager, enjoyed on game days in the fall or whenever you need a winning cold brew.
Los Landeros tequila.
1966 lager.
Los Landeros.
1966 lager.
Y'all stop bickering.
Okay, you're both wrong anyway. The best thing Spurrier's Gridiron Grill offers are Jerry's famous chocolate chip cookies.
Okay, welcome back to another Dooley Noted podcast presented by Titan MRI and Imaging, coming to you from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. And of course, Meldon Law, as always, is the sponsor of Coach Spurrier's appearances here every Monday. We always love having him on. And Coach, this is a place where a lot of stuff's going on again this week here at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. You got the Todd Golden ceremony this week.
Yeah, the Todd Golden unveiling of his portrait upstairs here. And every coach in Florida that wins a national championship, they get their painting by James Bates. And I think Batesy's going to be here Thursday night also. So, Todd Golden is joining a group of about 15 or 20 up there.
That's
something like that.
My wife asked me, she goes, what happens if they run out of room? I mean,
Gotta go,
that's a good problem
we got
to
to start
have.
going underneath there, above and underneath. Yeah, because it is crowded up there.
Yeah, well, that's a good thing that if you have that many national champs, and of course, Todd Golden kind of that was a big thing for the conference too, you know, and it was a big thing for Florida to have that championship because they kind of lacked in the championships this year.
That's right. SEC, we keep talking about the greatest football conference in the world. And we hadn't won a national championship in 3 years now.
Yeah.
So we've gone the last two without. Maybe we can get one this year. It was sort of interesting looking at all the preseason predictions and so forth. And, again, the same teams are at the top.
Yeah.
Texas, Alabama, Georgia. And I got to almost, if I had to pick a winner, I don't know. I think I might have to pick Georgia simply because Kirby Smart is the only coach in the SEC who has won a SEC championship.
Yeah.
Do you know that? So maybe there'll be a new winner this year. We'll just have to wait and find out.
Well, I think it is, and you may agree with me on this, I think it is kind of wide open in a lot of ways.
I do think so.
In that you have, there's other teams that, I mean, LSU could come out and win. A&M, you know, I think A&M may be really good this year. And, of course, we talked about this off the air before we came on about Missouri's schedule is so easy that they may be in the championship game.
Yeah, but it's always interesting watching the preseason predictions. Now, the SEC writers have their poll, and USA Today newspaper has theirs. And Texas and Georgia are 1 and 2 in both of them. But what was interesting, Florida, we were number 5 in USA Today paper, and yet we're number 9 in the sports writers here. So they were a huge difference. And then South Carolina had a big difference. They were number 5 in one and number 11 in the other. Now, what that means, I don't know. I think between 11 and 5, a lot can happen. All these teams may be pretty similar. Two things were consistent, Mississippi State and Kentucky, the two at the bottom, and Arkansas and Vandy were after that. But, Arkansas and Vandy are capable of just about beating anybody also. So it'll be interesting.
Yeah, don't forget Arkansas beat Tennessee last year, and Vandy beat Alabama last year.
That's right.
I think the league is wide open, to be honest with you, and I think anybody could win it. And it could be Florida. Maybe Florida gets it going.
Yeah, I also found it interesting. Sark at Texas was preseason coach of the year. And, he's a play caller. He's one of the few. Billy Napier is the play caller.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think they are about the only two play callers.
Because Norvell's not doing it anymore,
Yeah, I think the Mississippi State guy is also the play caller.
Jeff Levy, yeah.
But other than that, everyone has their – well, Lane Kiffin, sometimes he calls them, sometimes he doesn't. So that's sort of inconsistent. But, it's going to be fun to watch. It'll be fun to watch. I hope the prognosticators are not correct with Texas and Georgia up there, but there's a good chance they could be.
You know what's funny? I looked it up. I figured it out. Of the 1,200 writers that were at SEC Media Days, right, and radio and everything, 17% voted, took the time to vote. And I'm like, what are you there for then? I mean, why did you go if you didn't want to vote, didn't want to take the time to go online and vote? It's not even like a written ballot you have to do, but it just seems kind of silly. I think it's a lot of lazy voting too. How do you vote Missouri 12 when they don't play a road game until October 18th? I mean, they're gonna, and then they have the easiest SEC schedule. You and I agree on that.
They do, and they know it also. So they should have a good record if they just win their 4 out-of-conference games, which are not, I don't think, a power.
Kansas is the only one, and
Kansas,
again, it's Kansas, so. Yeah, I mean, that's a game that's you're capable of losing early in the year with a new quarterback, but I mean, who knows what's going to happen? But we just want it to get here soon. I mean, the sooner the better. I'm done with these morning thunderstorms like we had today. That was a doozy.
That lightning never stopped, did it?
It was crazy.
That was the most lightning consistent I think I've heard in a long, long time. How about you?
Yeah, that was a little scary this morning. But anyway, one thing I did want to talk to you about a little bit was the golf that we watched this weekend, and I know you watched a lot of it. It was, I mean, Scotty Scheffler is just ridiculous. When he hit the shot on the last hole, and I go, of course it's pin high. It's exactly pin high. Every shot he hit was pin high, it seemed like.
Yeah. And another thing that's not talked about too much, how many 10, 12 footers for par he made throughout the tournament. So did he end up just winning by 4, I think?
Yes.
4 or 5. And but all those par saves he makes are also part of it. But hitting fairways, hitting it hole high, he does that better than anybody. So that's why he's the best in the world right now.
Well, I think all 4 of his majors have been by at least 3 shots.
And I think he's going to stay there a while,
I do too.
He's got his act together. His wife and little baby boy come out, and Jordan Spieth was talking about him, and he said, this guy is all golf, preparation, planning, his family, his team, and going out having a few beers with the boys. That's not part of his game plan.
His game,
That's not nothing to do with it.
No, you're not going to worry about. Well, you'd say you don't have to worry about him getting arrested or getting in trouble, but he got in trouble last year. But that was an odd deal there, obviously. But I thought it was interesting that he talked about, and Billy Donovan talked about this once too with me, that you got to enjoy the moment better than he's doing. And he seemed to after he won this British Open. But he said, I'm not enjoying it as much as I should. It's like go to the next thing, instead of your kids there, your wife's there, your family's there. Get emotional. Be excited. And so, but during the tournament, for 4 days, his head was down.
Yeah, 72 holes. It was all golf.
Yeah, he just keeps his head down the whole time.
Yeah.
He's just looking at the ground, which
Yeah.
keeps you from stepping into a hole. That's one thing it definitely does. I tell you what, if I could just hit irons like he did, I would play golf every minute of every day.
Hole high.
Yeah, but I mean, he never. Yeah, his yardage is never off. It's never wrong. So you got to give his caddy a little credit there too, because he does a really good job. So we're coming up. We're getting ready to get to college football season, but some of the guys that, and I don't know that it even matters. You don't even get a little certificate if you're preseason All SEC, right? So
I don't think so.
No. Slaughter and Barber both were first team on the writers' poll, but again, those guys are just voting for people they've heard of for the most part.
I think my first year at South Carolina, I got the preseason Playboy Coach of the Year. Remember Gil Brandt used to
He did,
do,
yes.
do that little thing, a preseason Coach of the Year. Hey, get that. But anyway, he gave it to me, whatever that means.
Were you on the 66 preseason team on the football as a player?
I don't remember if they had it back then.
Because I know Guy Dennis was in 68, and it may not have happened until then. I think Larry Smith was too, yeah. But
sure.
they might not have been doing it then, but I don't think it gets you anything again.
Yeah.
It just tells you who they think's going to be good. And that's the thing. We have no idea. There could be guys on this team that we haven't even talked about, and they're going to be great players going forward. I'm just looking forward to seeing what this all shows up to. But I will say this, Steve. I'm a big believer that everybody's talking about DJ and his health, and DJ and his health. They got to keep him healthy, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, okay, I get that. He's one of 22 guys, But this is the year we have to find out if Billy Napier's up to it, because as a coach, you're going to be. You didn't have to play a lot of close games, but he's going to probably have to play a lot of close games with that schedule, and it's what he does in those games, what decisions he makes. They're going to make a difference between how good you are and whether you succeed or not.
Yeah. Obviously, DJ Lagway is a key for the Gators.
Yeah.
And, he didn't make the top 3 All-SEC preseason quarterbacks. And
He didn't.
I mean, we think he should be in the Heisman race, and he should be, and we think he will be. But anyway, the other guys there are pretty good players, too.
Yeah, well,
That's
Lenore
what,
Sellers from South Carolina was first team on the
Well, I was talking about
Writers,
the guys here at Florida. I'm talking about,
yeah.
Their names don't
Harrison Bailey.
Bailey and
Aiden Warner. Is he?
Aiden, yeah. Those two are second and third, somewhere in there. But they're good players also.
Yeah.
So I think they'll be ready in case they're needed also.
And that's the thing, though. I mean,
Harrison Bailey.
you never really had a quarterback who was a scramble guy, did you? Florida.
Not at
You
Florida.
did. Now you ran him at South Carolina.
Connor Shaw.
was,
Yeah, he could run. He could run.
But do you ever worry about keeping that guy healthy because you're afraid of him running too much and getting hurt?
Our guys pretty much knew how to get all you could and then dive forward. Try not to take a big hit. Danny was a decent runner. Every now and then
Yeah.
Shane could. Terry Dean was a good runner. Rex was a better passer, but he could sort of fall forward up in there. But anyway, remember Jesse Palmer scored 4 touchdowns
He
against
did.
Kentucky
He did.
one day. Set the all-time QB touchdown record that day.
I can't remember the plays then. Did you just run them from the 2 a lot or
Jesse?
quarterback sneaks?
Yeah, we had some little shotgun plays we put him in for that game for some reason. But yeah, he ran for 4 touchdowns.
Now he's a celebrity.
Oh, he is everywhere, isn't he? He's everywhere.
Every time I walk into our bedroom, my wife will be watching TV, and it'll be Jesse Palmer will be up there, and he's like doing cakes or something,
Yeah, Cooking Channel. Yeah, he's on
yeah.
that too.
Now you got Thaddeus Bullard's got a reality show. Did you know that?
Well, he's probably pretty good at it.
Yeah.
He's,
my wife
good
watches
actor.
that one too. It's him and Carlos Boozer and some male model.
Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, reality shows. I live in a reality show every day. I don't have to watch that, but so you're producing a lot of stars. I mean, obviously,
TV guys, yeah. That's happened a lot at Florida. when you think of the female reporters.
Oh, absolutely.
Erin Andrews.
Laura Rutledge.
And Laura. They're two of the top.
Christina Pink went to school here, and she's doing really well. There's been a lot of them. But, yeah, you had, obviously Jesse, and he's become a big star. But, I think that's a good sign, though, that every time I hear about one of your players, they're either a coach or they've done even better. And you even coached. You were around Chris Collinsworth when he was here, right?
1 year.
Yeah, one year.
I was here.
And
with
he's
him.
as big a star as there is,
Yeah, he's done that. Was it Sunday Night Football for 25 years or 30? I don't know. A long time.
Did you ever think about doing that? Doing some TV?
I thought about it a little bit, and I talked to some lady and said, you got to go do this, got to go do that. You got to learn all these guys' names and this, that, and the other. And I said, you know what? And travel. Man, you travel about 2 or 3 days on the weekend and so forth. I said, I don't think that's for me.
You did travel this weekend because you were at a wedding. I know that.
Yeah, my grandson got married up at Duke.
Yep.
And
Obviously,
obviously
Durham,
it's always neat to go back to Duke University. Luke Spurrier, who graduated at Duke, and now he's in med school at Oklahoma.
Wow.
So he's going to be a doctor, a very intelligent young man. But they had the wedding at the Duke Chapel.
Oh,
the
cool.
beautiful big
I've seen
structure
it,
there. And amazing. When it was over, they went outside to take some pictures in front of the chapel, and there was like a perfect rainbow out there.
That's great.
Unbelievable.
That's great.
So that was special for a whole bunch of Spurriers and her family, which is from Bowling Green, Kentucky, and she went to University of Kentucky. So anyway, they had a good honeymoon, I think, down one of those islands down there somewhere.
Yeah.
And they're back to normal now.
We actually had our honeymoon in St. Augustine. We just stayed in St. Augustine. We got married there and just stayed there. We
stayed there the weekend.
Yeah, let's just stay here and have a good time. Yeah. We weren't exactly flowing in money at that point. But yeah, so, and you were at my wedding too. So
yeah,
that was a good
on
day.
The beach.
On
the beach
yeah.
at what do you call that beach?
Villano.
Villano Beach
Villano
up there.
Beach,
yeah.
All right, Coach, you got anything else for us? We got to get to our Campus USA play of the weekend, and it's a sport that will be in the Olympics, I think, coming up.
One-handers.
That's flag football. Yes, it's a flag football highlight, but this was the greatest catch I've ever seen. It looked like Ricky Pearsall's catch.
Sure did.
Just one hand. Now, the ball is a little smaller in this game. I looked it up to make sure, but it looks smaller, and it is a little smaller.
Yeah, he was able to sort of cradle it as he was.
Does this look like a 14-year-old kid? He doesn't look 14. But he must be. I mean, he's got to have his birth certificate, but that's a heck of a catch, isn't it?
Oh, it's a beautiful catch, yeah.
I saw where, like, Pat Mahomes and all these people were, and this guy's got all these Instagram followers, and they were saying he's already got a $500,000 car deal.
That kid right there?
Yes. He's 14. Yeah. This is the world we live in today, isn't it?
Certainly is.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, Coach, we'll let you go, and appreciate you. We'll be back with more of another Dooley Noted podcast. Jeff Cardozo is going to join us for Yes, No, Where, Maybe when we come back here on another Dooley Noted podcast.
All the way from the North Pole. It's me, Santa Claus. I'm here with my friend Steve Spurrier for an amazing Christmas in July offer.
Spurrier's Gridiron gift cards are on sale for 20% off.
Coach, how do they get them?
You can go to Spurriers.com and order a digital card or stop by my restaurant in Celebration Point and pick some up today.
Thanks for being my holiday helper in July, Coach. Hurry, this special Christmas in July offer is for this month only. Ho, ho, ho.
Meldon Law has been serving personal injury victims since 1971. In those days, Jeffrey Meldon's presence as an attorney in the music scene dubbed him with the nickname the Hippie Attorney. And although times have changed, two things haven't: our commitment to bettering our community by helping the injured,
Albert, are you ready to go to the game?
And our love for the Florida Gators.
If you bleed orange and blue, Meldon Law is the firm for you.
Hey, let's talk about something that's been a real game changer for many people, including me. BMI TeleMed is one of our sponsors. They're the weight loss specialists and can help you tackle that stubborn belly fat. You know, the kind that usually creeps up once you hit your 40s. Bob Parado and Charlie Gonzalez, 2 UF-trained pharmacists, work with their medical director to prescribe and deliver the same meds that helped me lose 50 pounds. Yep, 50 pounds. That belly fat, it's not just about looks. It's unhealthy and makes you feel sluggish. Now is the time to do something about it before football season rolls around again. If you're anywhere in Florida, BMI TeleMed, simple online telehealth platform makes it easy. Your weight loss meds get delivered right to your door fast. From my experience, you feel full sooner, eat less, but can keep enjoying the foods that you love, just in smaller portions. Plus, it helps with blood sugar and cravings. Do yourself a favor, head to bmitelemed.com to set up a free private consultation. No obligations, no contracts. These Gators know their stuff. You'll look better, feel better, and be healthier. Visit bmitelemed.com today. Adams Rib Company has been a staple of Gainesville for more than a decade and a staple of the Dooley house ever since Kelsey's teeth came in. The first time I walked into Adams, I told my daughter that the green beans are always a test of a great barbecue restaurant, and they were perfect. You know about the ribs that melt in your mouth, and my favorite, the turkey plate. But be sure to go in on Fridays for Nana's Fish Nuggets. They will melt in your mouth. Adams Rib Co., a Gainesville great. Okay, welcome back to another Duly Noted podcast presented by Titan MRI and Imaging, coming to you from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. It's a great pleasure to bring on our friend Jeff Cardozo, who's going to do Yes, No, Where, Maybe today. Robbie is again at the beach, although why you would go to the beach on this day, I don't know if you looked outside, Jeff, but it was pretty nasty today.
Yeah, but it's supposed to calm down, so he's got the rest of the day when the UV is at 12, so you can get a nice little tan. So he's good.
All right, well, that's good. Did you enjoy the British Open?
I did. Wish it was a little closer on Sunday to be able to enjoy it more, but it allowed me to not pay like full attention to it. So get stuff done around the house while still paying attention was good.
I actually went and played golf because I was so desperate to want to apply some of the things that I was looking at there. But, of course, they don't work quite the same. It's like
they do not.
When Scheffler hits those chicken wing shots, where he's trying to fade it, it doesn't quite work the same way for me. I can tell you that.
Amazing what he does.
Yep. All right. Jeff is coming to us, of course, on the Big Mills Cheesesteak Zoom line, and it's a time for us to play Yes, No, Where, Maybe, brought to you by Big Mills Cheesesteak. Street dining done the right way. Go in there and say that you watched or listened to another Duly Noted podcast. You get free French fries with your order, and we've had many people say that they enjoyed those fries, and they are really good fries at Big Mills. All right, Jeff, number one on Yes, No, Where, Maybe. If you could have one thing from Scotty Scheffler, it would be his iron play.
Oh. That's probably the easiest yes you'll ever ask me. Because, I drop bombs off the tee, and I can putt. I just can't hit an iron to save my life. So if I had that, I probably would have either been in the final group with Lee or, probably with Fitzpatrick right there in the second to last group contending if I could hit some irons.
Well, you can hit some irons, but you can't hit them like that. I just couldn't believe the yardage control that he has. It's amazing.
It's spectacular to not look the way that it's supposed to. All these people pay thousands and thousands of dollars for lessons, and these pros, they try to say, hey, you've got to swing like this and look like this. Well, he doesn't, and he just does what he wants. And I loved where DeChambeau even afterwards was like, man, this guy wasn't even that good in college. I kicked his ass all the time, but he got better, and now he's obviously the standard. So to be able to do that the way he does it is very special. And now all these comparisons to Tiger and the numbers and the amount of majors he's won, and even with Rory, he's pretty even the way that they started their careers, and then Rory had that big lull. So I think Scheffler's going to eventually be better than Rory, and going to be one of the best we've ever seen.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see because, obviously Tiger's not catching Jack. Maybe Scheffler can catch him. We never know. They're on the same trajectory. By the way, the correct answer to that is no way, because you would rather have his bank account if you could have anything. If you had his bank account, you wouldn't care how good you were playing golf.
Yeah, but then you'd be able to get to his bank account if you hit irons. So.
All right, number 2 on Yes, Nowhere, maybe with Jeff Cardozo. The Braves have got to get some bullpen help or just tank it the rest of the way. Because, I mean, I was so bitter. They win Friday against the Yankees. Saturday, they're up 4-0. I get doing something else. And then I find out they lose like 9-7 because their bullpen blew it. So what's your answer, Jeff?
Yeah, I think at this point there's so many other teams ahead of them, and again the injuries and things that have happened. I think I wouldn't say tank it. That's not the way that they're going to be, but I don't think that there's a reason to go out and just try to get bullpen help. So I would say no way. There's no need to waste prospects, do different things. Just kind of chalk up another year and hopefully contend next year where everybody's healthy. But it's becoming the story now. Acuna gets hurt last year, so they can't do it, and several other guys, but I don't think there's any reason because they're so far back and they couldn't win a lot of these close games that they're going to find themselves passing a whole bunch of people. Yeah,
I think it was 3 years ago where they went and got a lot of bullpen help, remember, late in the year, and it didn't really help them that much, to be honest with you. Green, remember that guy Green? He was supposed to be the answer and came in his first game, gave up like 4 runs, so... It didn't work out. All right, finally, number 3 on Yes, Nowhere, maybe with Jeff Cardozo. You are happy with what Sully has done in the portal?
I guess I'll do a maybe because that way I can cover all 3 of them for our little game here. I think he addressed what he needed, and to me that was bullpen help. But we're sitting there talking about the Braves. I mean, that was the issue last year. You couldn't get anybody in the middle of the game to come in and get some outs. They didn't have any lefties because of injuries. So I think they'll be much healthier in the bullpen. They brought in some veteran arms. I think the starting rotation is pretty solidified. I mean, you've got 2 front-end guys in Peterson and King, and then you either throw McNeely in there or, they've got a freshman Rittenauer that they really like that redshirted last year. So I think they're fine from a starting standpoint. They just needed bullpen help. And then Jones will be back in center. Curlin's back at second. I really like the Ole Miss kid that they brought in that's going to play third. I mean, he's tearing up the Northwood League right now. So, Heyman ends up signing. So he had to go get some catchers, and he did get some catchers. And he's got some good ones at that. So I think there's some depth there. You brought in a shortstop that was the player of the year in the Ivy League. And when you look at the last couple of years in the SEC, there's been that player of the year transfer into the SEC, and that dude's been lights out. So if Florida can have their guy do that, then I think you're solidifying shortstop as well. So I don't really think there's any holes. They did what they needed to do. Now, there was no front end, top of the line starter, but I don't think you were going to do that anyway because you don't want to, have King butthurt or Peterson butthurt. So let those guys do their thing, get bullpen help for them, and hopefully win a lot of games because of it. So it's a maybe, but a leaning more towards a yes, because I think with the resources and knowing what they needed to do, they went out and made the right choices.
Yeah, when people hear Ivy League, they kind of cringe, but I'm like, I saw those Harvard kids. They couldn't pitch, but they could play baseball. They were not a bad baseball team. They just couldn't pitch.
Yeah, and he'll help the GPA too, you would think.
Right. You would hope so. And of course, as a 4-time SEC all academic, you know that. You know how important it is.
I got the plaques to prove it, Doles.
You get a plaque, but you don't get one for being preseason all SEC in football.
Right.
Okay. That's just the way it works. All right, my man. I appreciate you pinch hitting for Robbie today. Thank you so much.
No problem. Have fun.
All right. Okay, we appreciate Jeff for being on. Let's go ahead and get to all of our fun stuff that we like to do in the third segment. Adams Ribco Gator of the weekend. We appreciate our buddy Adam over there, and he's actually putting together something for our golf tournament as well. The Kira Grace golf tournament, but I'm helping a lot with it. Kira Grace Foundation, great cause. We've been working hard to get. Since we're not having our tournament, I wanted to help out with other tournaments, and this is one we're going to help with. We're definitely going to help with the Stop Children's Cancer tournament too in the fall. But anyway, for our Gator of the weekend, it was kind of hard to come up with something because there just isn't anything going on. But here's our Gators of the weekend. You ready? Jonathan India and Jack Caglione. Now, the reason is they came back to the state of Florida to play against the Marlins over the weekend. It didn't go good the first two games, but in the last game, both of them had 2-run hits. Cags was a 2-run double and helped the helped the Royals beat the Marlins, which I was happy about that, although the Braves couldn't take advantage of it. So they are our Gators of the weekend, Jonathan India and Jack Caglione. Okay, our Leonardo's at Millhopper Quick Picks. By the way, Kyle is a major sponsor of that tournament I was talking about, the Kira Grace Foundation tournament, and that's going to be great to see Kyle out there. I also saw Bill Reichert's playing, so I'm glad to see him out there. But that'll be at UF Saturday. Fired up about it. But we appreciate Kyle so much. And by the way, a lot of you did get it right that you picked Patricio Pitbull. So you got that pick right. So you qualified for the next contest, and we'll be making a poll probably in a couple of weeks to get a new winner of $25 gift certificate from Kyle to Leonardo's at Millhopper. And, man, they are packed every time I go in there. It's great. All right, our quick pick is going to be a pretty easy one. We're just going to give you the Boston-Philadelphia game, and it's on TV, so it's Tuesday night. You have plenty of time to get your pick in. Just pick a winner, Boston at Philadelphia. And I am, you know how to get a hold of me and how to send me that. PatrickDooley54 at gmail.com is the address to send it to. And we'll see if you can get registered. Like I said, we're a couple weeks away from pulling another winner, $25 gift certificate. All right, let us get to our Hesser and Kipke 3 things. I had a wonderful time on Friday at Jennifer's birthday party, and we had a blast over there at Blackadder. I had not been there before, and it was a pretty cool little place. Yeah, a lot of fun. But you can reach Hesser and Kipke at 352-339-9920 or www.hklawfl.com for all of your workers' compensation needs. And family law. Both those things are very important, as we know. All right. Number one is really tragic news out of, it's out of Shelby, Tennessee, but it's also out of Oxford, and that Corey Adams, who was an incoming freshman at Ole Miss, was shot and killed, and there was a lot of people that were shot, apparently, in Shelby, Tennessee, and it's just tragic. I mean, there's no other words for that. You lose somebody, not as a football player, not as a teammate even. I mean, you lose them as a young person, and just tragic. And I'm sad to start it out with that, but I think it's important that we remember Corey Adams, certainly. All right, let's move along to number 2, which is Rashee Rice is in camp with the Chiefs right now, and he just got a 30-day sentence for a really bad wreck, and I think he fled the scene on that, as I recall. I'm not 100% sure on that. So he's in camp, and again, I understand why they have him in camp. But he's going to get a suspension. We all know that's coming. It's probably going to be 6 games. I saw where somebody said it could be between 5 and 7. I go, well, that would be 6. I don't know if you know how the numbers work, but anyway, we'll see how that all works out. Their schedule's not. It's pretty tough later in the season. It's not as tough early, so maybe it won't hurt him. But, I mean, Rashee Rice is an important part of that program, but what he did was really bad, too. And that's why he got 30 days in jail as a star football player. If you get 30 days in jail as a star football player, you did something really bad. You know that. And he will get suspended by the commissioner. All right. Let's move along to number 3 on our Hesser and Kipke 3 things, and that is that the president has come forward and says, I want the Redskins to go back to the Redskins. I don't want them to be the Commanders anymore. And all the Native Americans want this too. And of course, we know that's not true. There's a reason why they changed it. But there is a little wokeism in there. Look, I'm not going to get political on you here at all. I'm just telling you that I can see this argument. And the Guardians, he's asking the same thing. although he did get the owner wrong. But look, this is what his website, or what is it called, Truth Social, I believe, or Twitter or X or whatever you want to call these things, gives you an opportunity to just throw things out. Sometimes you don't think it all the way through. But, hey, you know what? He can withhold funding, so they're building a new stadium. Who knows? They could go back to being the Redskins. And I don't – look, I'm not a Native American, so it's hard for me to tell you what they think. I cannot stand it. I hate it with the Braves games, you know? It's just you think and this is a great Bill Burr bit where he talks about, do you think any Indian ever did this? Hey. You think they ever did that in their lives? No, of course not. Anyway, whatever happens, I'm just reporting the story, okay? Let's appreciate Hesser and Kipke for being a longtime sponsor and being good friends as well. Let's get along to our Los Landeros smooth move of the week. Los Landeros tequila, go beyond, the favorite tequila of me and Urban Meyer, both of us. 2 for 2. All right, our smooth move of the week was this one. Marcus Smart getting a buyout of his deal with the Wizards and going to the Lakers. Now, I don't think the Lakers are going to be this great team. They'll be good. They'll make the playoffs. He ain't going to make it in Washington. He made the playoffs for 12 straight years, I think, with Boston, or 10 straight, whatever it was. And then he goes to Memphis and the Wizards and doesn't make the playoffs. He wanted to go back to the playoffs. He knows it's boring not to be in there. But he also got $11 million for a 2-year deal. So that's a pretty smooth move to make a move like, I'm going from the worst franchise that can't win any games to a franchise that at least people are going to know who I am. And I'm going to make money, too. It's a good deal. It's a smooth move. Los Landeros, your tequila of choice. We move along to our Gallo Car Wash sponge of the weekend. Appreciate Gallo Car Wash, place to go to get your car cleaned and get on a little roller. Take your hands off the steering wheel and your foot off the brake, and they just take you right through there. Gallo Car Wash. Our sponge of the weekend was my friend Dan Wetzel, who, again, he's another guy that we've had on this podcast and probably get on again. He writes for ESPN now. He wrote a column and it was pretty interesting. And the reason I call it the sponge of the week this week is because you kind of sponge up 2 stories into one, and you soak them all up, and then you spit them all out. And it was I'm not disagreeing with what he was saying. But the premise of it was, if the playoff system isn't broke, why fix it? Now, I don't agree with that because I want more games. I want better games. The better the games, the more games, the better. But look, what do I want? Like a 80-game playoff? Well, I'm not going to go Drinkwitz on you, but yeah, I want more games. But I also get the argument that, look, the SEC doesn't want to go to 9. The Big Ten is insisting they do, or they're not going to approve of the playoff going to 16. So, well, do what's in the best interest of your conference. Do whatever you want. 12 teams, we don't even know if it's going to work. We saw it one year. It wasn't great because the seeding was off. That's the good point that I thought Dan Wetzel made in this. Look, give it another couple of years at least before you want to make all these changes, and we make sure. Maybe if they get straight seeding this year, maybe it'll be a great playoff, and we'll be excited about it. Maybe it won't. Let's find out before we make a decision. Anyway, that is our Gallo Car Wash sponge of the weekend. Let us move along to our BMI TeleMed Overachiever of the weekend. BMI TeleMed, achieve and maintain, 727-383-1677, and you can get 10% off your order. And you can look at me as evidence that this works. I hit a new milestone this weekend. I looked down and I saw my weight, and I got a little emotional, to be honest with you. Very, 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 very happy. I will say this. The humidity out there is not hurting, especially when you go out in the yard and you start working out in the yard for a little bit, and then all of a sudden you think you're going to pass out. You lose a lot of water. Got to keep going with the water. But anyway, our BMI TeleMed Overachiever of the Weekend is Chris Gator. And the reason I made him the Overachiever of the Weekend is, look, most of you out there had never heard of him. I'd heard of him a little bit because he'd won a couple of times on tour, but they were insignificant wins. And not insignificant to him, but not to me. And, I mean, he was the College Player of the Year his senior year. He transferred to Oklahoma, but I wasn't very aware. Of him. Now, I got aware of him last week when he won the Scottish Open, and I'm watching him, and I'm like, this guy kind of, he doesn't look like your typical golfer in that he's got a little belly on him. Now, I know a lot of them do have them, but Scotty doesn't, Rory doesn't, the great ones don't. But this guy is so powerful. He's got those big Popeye forearms, and he is so powerful. He killed the ball. And, of course, if you watch the Open, he finished in a tie for third, which is not too shabby. He made a lot of money. Now, don't forget, he wasn't even going to be in the British Open until he won the Scottish Open. He was going home. He wasn't even expecting to play. So that, to me, is an overachiever. And then to finish tie for third, maybe this guy is going to be another next great player. But it also goes to show you how, and I talk about this all the time, how there are a lot of great golfers out there. A lot of great golfers. You think you're playing good? You have no idea the level these guys play at. It is ridiculous. And a guy like Chris Gator, nobody, other than really, really sincere golf fans, hadn't heard of him. Now you've heard of him. Now you may root for him. So that in itself is overachieving. All right, that is our BMI TeleMed Overachiever of the Weekend. Let's get to our Steve and Christine Wendig Gators 101. We appreciate Christine and Steve, and we talked the other day. We're going to go have lunch, I think, maybe later this week or maybe next week. They were out of town as well. They were out of town. Randy Royal was out of town, but we still found a way to get it together because we have phones and we can text people. All right, our Steve and Christine Wendig Gators 101, in which we give you a little history lesson about the Gators. And today's, and I wanted to bring it up when Steve was here, but I said, no, well, maybe we'll bring it up next week. But I just wanted to point this stat out. It's a stat of history, okay? That in Steve Spurrier's time at Florida, his 12 seasons at UF, Florida lost 12 SEC games total. 12. Okay? In 12 years. That's one a year. I don't know. That's the math I'm doing. In the last 4 years, they've lost 20 SEC games. Now, that's not all on Napier. 1 year was under Mullen, and Mullen left him a mess. We all know that, the argument. Look, I didn't think it would take this long to get it back. It needs to come back right away, though. It needs to come back this year. That's totally irrelevant to the conversation. But 20 SEC losses in 4 years. 12 under Steve Spurrier in 12 years. Those were the good old days. We need to get back to them, man. Need to get back to them. Anyway, that is Steve and Christine Wendig's Gators 101, just to give you guys a little info there. All right, Quarterback Club is meeting tomorrow night. I'm looking forward to it. I'll have eaten. That'll be the best part. But more than anything, it'll be fun to see Nick Polk, who is, of course, the new GM at Florida. And I cannot wait to hear this conversation or hear the things he's going to have to say. And it'll be a lot of fun. That'll be like, you need to be a member. It is going to be a great year. We have got great speakers. Of course, Todd Golden will be at the gala now. We talked about that on Thursday. And that in itself, you got a national championship coach there. And then, of course, we've got Kevin Carter and all these other people that are going to come. Noah Brindise is going to come. Alex Brown's going to come. It's going to be a great year to be a member of the Gainesville Quarterback Club. It's very easy to get in touch. Just go on their website and you can join and be a member. In fact, I got on it. It's how easy it is. I got on it and paid for my wife's ticket for the gala. So that's how easy it is. All right, let's move along to our swamp games of the week to round it out for the week, for the day, for the Monday. Not much here, and this is really sad, to be honest with you, because, you know, it'd be nice to have something to watch. But anyway, we'll just have to find something else to watch. But I will give you a couple suggestions here at the end. First of all, Tuesday on ESPN, if you want to watch the WNBA, 8 o'clock, Indiana at New York. Caitlin Clark's out for that game as well. 10 o'clock, Atlanta at Las Vegas. Baseball Tuesday, Boston at Philadelphia. That's the game you're picking. 6:45 on TBS. So that's cool. I like those twilight. They're not even, I call them twilight games, but it starts so early. You got about 2 hours of daylight before it'll get dark. That's about it for this week, and we'll get to the weekend later. But I do want to recommend two things. One is the SEC story that they did on the Wishbone, and it's called Wishbone. So you can find it very easily. I thought it was really good, very interesting. I did get a little segment there with Don Gaffney running the option. But it was really good, and it was interesting stuff I didn't know about. That's very good, and I don't know how many of you watched the Billy Joel documentary on HBO. The first part dropped, and I watched it. I've watched it twice already. I'm not even a big Billy Joel guy. I like Billy Joel. I like him fine. I'm not a huge fan, though. But, man, I am now. It just was fascinating. Although maybe I shouldn't be as big a fan of him, the person, because there's some things in there. Hey, look, you can see how he got where he is. But his wife at the time was a very big part of that. And she just couldn't put up with him riding motorcycles anymore because he was going to try to kill himself. Anyway, that is my recommendation. The Billy Joel documentary is very, very good. I'm a big documentary guy, though. I love to watch documentaries, especially about bands and groups and singers. I watched the one on Sinead O'Connor and the Go-Go's and Bee Gees. I love all those documentaries. Anyway, so that's my recommendation for you. Go watch those two things, and you don't have to worry about sports so much this week. But you can go to the Swamp and watch these, because believe me, they'll put it on for you. That Love Island crowd was crazy. All right, that's going to do it for another duly noted podcast for today. We appreciate all of our great sponsors, all of our great listeners, and especially we appreciate Zach. I'm going home to drink, what is it called? Magnesium sulfate? No, is it something like that? Whatever it's called. You got to drink 3 bottles of it. Cleans you out. So that's what I'm getting ready to do. It's going to be fun. And I just appreciate everybody, all right? So let us move along to Thursday. Hopefully Thursday we will have another good show. I'm always hoping we'll have a good show. All right, that's going to do it for another Duly Noted podcast presented by Titan MRI and Imaging from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. I am Pat Dooley. I am deep way back, and I am out of here.